Hello guys, hope you're all doing great. And for myself, this is Lokesh and I'm working as a software engineer, and my technology stack SQL, Power BI and data science. And today's session we will gonna see a few concepts regarding the Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, let's jump into it. So in today's session we will see the four-part representation of a select statement and then different approaches to querying the data from a table. Okay, so I just opened my SQL Server Management Studio like this, and you already knew that when you open your SQL Server Management Studio, obviously it points to the master database. So just go and change this one. Use MySQL DB. For me, this is the MySQL DB is my own database, and you can use your own database as well. Control E for execution, Control R. So you can see here the master database is shifted to MySQL DB. Now let's just query select star from employee duplicate data 22. This is the table which I already have in my database. So Control E. In this table we have serial number, employee ID, serial S name. S name is nothing but an employee name, and his salary. Okay, let's see a few different kind of operations on it. As I told you before, we will see the four-part representation of the select statement. Okay, and later then we will see all these things, how to select a few columns from a table and the following stuff. Okay, let's see with the basics first. So you already set up with the what is the database that you want to see. Okay, so in four-part representation, of select statement, right? So here we go. Select star from. So generally we do a table name, right? What is my table name? My table name is employee data 22. Why it will give you the result? Obviously it will give you the result because of the very basic reason. It is a single part. It means it's a single part convention method. Means you haven't had mentioned any kind of schema, any kind of database, any kind of server. But what is a four-part representation? Okay, let's see the skeleton of four-part representation. It is select star from server name. What is the server name that you're using or that you're connected to? And database name. What is the name of your database that you're using it? That is the second part. First part is server name, and second part is your database name, and third part is schema. What is schema? I already covered the what is schema and what are the different kind of operations on schema in my previous videos. If you do miss it, then please go back and check my previous video. So here as a basic default schema is DBO. DBO means database object. That is the default schema. Dot your table name. Okay, so this is the four-part representation of a select statement. Okay, so let's see what will happen if we go for three-part, two-part and single part or with a dot convention. Let's see one by one. Okay, so now I just want to go with this four-part representation. So for this four-part representation, I have my database name. Obviously MySQL underscore DB is my database name. I know this one. DBO is my default schema, or if I create my own schema I can set it to it. That is fine. And my table name, which is well known from my database. Here I can check my tables, whatever the tables I want to get querying for, but I don't know the server name. Though, what is my server name? How to find out my server name? It's very easy. Just type select @ server name. See, intelligent sensor showing you server name. Just tab, click on tab and execute this command. It will give you, okay. For me, in case of mine, it is laptop 24 VJR 164. Okay, just copy this one, Control R, and paste it over here. So that is my first part is done. Okay, next one, database name. My database is mysql underscore db dot. That is my second part of the 4-part convention. What is my third part? It is dbo, that is default, and my fourth part is emp duplicate data 22. It's my table name. Okay, if you execute this query, obviously it will throw you an error. Okay, let's see, let's dig into that error. What makes the error? Okay, incorrect syntax near this slash. Okay, this one, this hyphen, because while giving the table name or any part of the name, it will not accept, as I told you before, as a naming convention of the table in my previous videos. You need not to give some special characters in between them. If you want to give it, then you need to have a bracket, have a closed bracket for that particular part convention. Okay, now it will work fine. Okay, it will give you the 4-part representation for that, and it executes the query as well. See, I got the results. So this is the 4-part convention method. Okay, suppose if you are connected to here, so I connected to only single server, but if you in your work environment, if you connected to 3 to 4 more servers, then it is obviously difficult to get a data from a particular table, because maybe this employee duplicate data is present in other server name and other database name also as well, with a different kind of schema. So in order to avoid the confusion at any stage, you need to go for this 4-part representation while you writing or querying the data. At least if you don't go for the 4-part representation, but this 3-part and 2-part representation is mandatory. Let's see what it will be. Okay, suppose this is the 4-part representation. Here I'm just giving you the 4-part representation. I copy this. I copy this entire stuff, and let's go for break down the single, dropping each part. Okay, how it will be the 3-part representation. Now I'm gonna drop this one. I'm gonna drop my server, because I already knew my server name. Here I'm just connected to my the server name which I am using now, and I already using my DB, mysql underscore DB. So I'm just using that name. Now here it is a 3-part representation: my database, my schema, and my table name. Okay, let's execute this query. Obviously it will execute. Okay, let's see what happens with the 2-part representation. In this 2-part, I knew all these 2 things. First one, I don't need my server name because I already connected to it, and I don't even need my database as well, because I already use my database by using use command. I'm using my own database, so I don't need to worry about it, but I have to worry about my schema and my table name. So here it is, I'm mentioning my schema and my table name. Let's execute. Yes, we got the result, and let's check for another option, but it's just a single part. Single part means only table name. Okay, it's always a bad practice to just go for a table name. Okay, if you go for the table name, obviously it will gives you, but if you watch my previous video regarding schema representation and what kind of important role the schema has, then obviously you will not go for this without any kind of part representation of a table. You have to go for the two-part representation all the time, but even though if you not, it will execute the query, okay? Because the only one reason it will execute the query, because the schema is always points to DBO as a default. That is the reason why it obviously executes your query, okay? Control E, Control R. So here it is. And one more thing, even though you didn't mention all those things, it will still execute in other way, okay? We will see other part of the game here now. So which is nothing but the dot convention methods, okay? If you didn't use these things, okay, I didn't use DBO, I didn't use my database, and I didn't use my server name, will it execute? Let's see. Yes, it will. How come it executes? Yes, it is, because you just separate your table with the dot conventions. First dot represents your server name, second dot is a database name, third dot is a schema name, okay? So if it is a three dot convention, then you can skip these things, okay? This one and this one, obviously it will execute your result, okay? And if you delete over here as well, this particular single dot represents, obviously you have a schema before that, okay? You have a schema, that is the default schema is nothing but your DBO, okay? That is nothing but Control E and Control R, okay? And this is just a common representation, common way of representing just a select star from table name, okay? So here it is. But always remember, it is advisable to go with the selected columns rather than a star, okay? The reason why, we'll see each commands over here, each requirement here. So how to select few columns in a table name, okay? If you want to select a few columns in a table name, I wouldn't suggest this select a star from table name, because star will give you entire columns in your table, okay? If you see here, Control E, you can see the message 9 rows affected, and it will go and fetch for the entire your particular database table, and it will search for the all columns, okay? But most of the time you don't need a few columns while doing a business requirement queries and all, okay? So actually that is the reason why you need to go for the selected objects from your table name. And next, one more thing, while writing the queries, always go for the wrapping your query, okay? Means you have to adjust your query in a neat manner, because if somebody see your queries as well, then it will look very clean and neat, because you're using this select a star from, means all these blue colored ones are the keynotes, okay? Actually those are the key statements, so it should be aligned in a proper way, okay? It will gives you a good looking of your query, okay? Because we are adding few more concepts, few more keywords to your query, it will not disrupt your query, okay? Let's see how to select few columns from your table. So select, what you need to do is select star from what is table name, it's employee duplicate data, okay? Now I don't know how many columns in my table, so in order to get few columns in it, you need to first write star, because if you write star, it will obviously give you what are the columns present in your table, which are nothing but serial number. If you see serial number, employee ID, S name and salary, okay? Now what I will do, I will just delete this particular star, and I will write just I will type the first letters from that. I'll get the serial name, S name, you see I'm getting serial name, serial number, S name and employee ID, Do I have employee ID? Yes, I have employee ID and salary as well from this table. Okay, so here we go. This is the way you write. Okay, select serial number, as name, employee ID, salary, or you can even write in this way. Okay, so this is more conventional way of writing your query. Okay, now see, if anybody see your query, then obviously it is look like a very well mannered aligned query. Okay, so just try to write your query like this. Okay, right. How to select a few columns from a table with alias name. Okay, what is the meaning of this alias? What is the meaning of alias name? Alias name. Alias naming is nothing but like a duplicate namings. Okay, how to do that? Can we do that? Obviously we can do that. How it is suppose I have the serial number, yes name, employee ID, salary as a original names from my table. Okay, if you execute this query, then obviously it has serial number, as name, employee ID and salary. Okay, but I don't want like that. I want to give a different names. How to give? Just space as, I want to give serial number as ID. Let's say ID. ID is my alias name. Any kind of name which is separated by as after as is considered to be as an alias name. Okay, as S name. S name is employee name. Okay, if you want to give spaces between your alias names, just use this close bracket. Okay, close bracket will accept the spaces as well. No need to worry about that one. Or you need to give if you don't want to put this square brackets, then you need to give underscore between this, like this. Even though if you put underscore employee name, it will work. Okay, or obviously it will work with the normal closure brackets as well. Okay, so that's my employee name. And employee ID as no, I don't want to change this employee ID. It is as it is, employee ID. Salary I want to change as payment. Okay, payment. Let's execute this query. This is the query with alias names. Okay, see, if you write your query like this, then it is so clear for anyone. If you see your query, then it is very well aligned. Okay, the one who wrote this query wrote with alias names from this table name. Okay, if you add few more cosmetics to it like DBO name and all, it will gives you much more greater appearance. Okay, fine. Let's execute this query and let's see what will happen. And for this, I'll just execute the original query as well, employee duplicate data. Let's see the change. Okay, what kind of change it will give you. Control E. You see, here you have a original names, and here you have a different kind of names. See, for employee ID, for serial number I gave ID. For employee ID I gave employee name. For this I didn't change it. For S name I changed it to employee name. For salary I changed it to payment. Okay, the values in the table remain same, but the columns names has changed. Depending on the business requirement or depending on your convention, you can write those things. Okay, this is the way how you write it. Okay, if anybody wants alias names, then this is the way you can write it. Next one, select a few columns from a table with alias name, table specific. Okay, what is the meaning of table specific? If it is a table specific, then how it could be, so here I have a dbo.employee. I just want to give the alias name to the table as well. as of now, you see I gave alias names to the columns in a particular table. Now I want to give alias name to the table itself. So it's very clear. It is as table name. Just to give alias name emp. So that's my alias name. Now if you execute this query, obviously it will throw you an error. Oh, it executes. Yes, it will not throw an error, because if you want to make your query more specific, while if you want to join two queries, then it should be very important. You shouldn't do this. Okay, what you need to do is you have to give this emp to this one as well. Okay, let's see. This is the one it is. Okay, I already wrote a line for that. Okay, so how to select a few columns from a table with alias name, both table name and column specific. What does that mean? What is that means? Which means you created already with the alias name as a table name. Now you just give this to this one, access to this one. Okay, means I want to give emp dot serial number, and same thing with emp dot, means here what you're doing is you're just referring your every column with your alias table name. That's it. You're not doing anything. You're just referring all these columns are related to this emp table. Okay, because your emp is the alias name of the employee duplicate data 22. Okay, so this is another way of executing a query. Control E and Control I. Okay, that's it. So how to give alias names with spaces? See, we already see here an example how to give spaces with alias names. Or if you want any other kind of one, then you can go for it. Suppose here serial name, I just want to give ID number. If I want to give ID number, obviously it has to give like this. Okay, suppose I want to give my employee ID as emp ID with the spaces. Okay, or employee number, you can give that, you can give like that. Okay, no problem, no problem. Payment method, or it's not a payment, just payment, just leave it like that. So this is the way how you can go for spaces. If you have spaces in your alias name, then you can go like that. Okay, what is it? Inserting a table data into another table. Okay, so as of now, you see, suppose I have select star from dpo dot employee data. So here is the data I have. Okay, now for some calculations or for some math operations, so generally we don't want to do all those operations on a main tables in our database. Suppose let's say I say this emp duplicate data 22 is my master table, means which is the master table, and not everybody have the permissions on it. But I want to do some mathematical calculations on emp duplicate data 22 depending on my business requirements. Then what I need to do, I just want to copy this entire table data into another table. How to do that? You can do that by using select star into statement. Okay, select star into table name. So just define a table name you want to dump this data into. So for this, you don't need to create a table first and you need to dump the data second. Okay, that is another approach. But with this approach, select star into approach, this is the more reasonable approach and more faster than first of all you need to create a table and then you need to dumping the data. It shouldn't be required for this method. This method is straightforward. Select star into dbo dot which table you want to create a table and you want to dump the data. All those two things can be done by this single statement. I want to create a table. What kind of table it is? It is a emp dump, just a emp dummy, say dummy, emp dummy data. Okay, emp dummy data table. Emp dummy data table. This is the table I want to create. From where do I want to change all those things? From this. Okay, from this table I want to copy with the structure and completely dump into my new table, this. Okay, if you execute this query, what it will do is it will create employee dummy data table at the instant, and on the fly it will also dump the data from emp duplicate data 22 to this emp dummy data table. Okay, everything will go in just like that. Control E. 9 rows affected. See, 9 rows affected means it already dumped the data into emp dummy data table. Now we just select the store from complete schema as well. Okay, dbo dot emp dummy data table. Okay, control E. See, you got the entire data. Now you can do some math or business calculations for your requirements. Okay, so this is the very efficient way, rather than creating another table with the same specifications and then inserting all the records from one table to another table. It's just taking some time. But if you go for this select star into method, then it will do create a table and at the same time dumping the data without changing the structure from one table to another table on fly. Okay, so how to insert some columns into another table? So this is nothing but the same thing which has happened here. Here what you're doing is you're just dumping all the columns information into this employee dummy data table. But here what I need is I just want to insert few columns from that, and I don't want rest of it. Suppose, let's see how to do that. Suppose from my dummy data duplicate employee duplicate data 22, I just want only salary and yes name, serial number, salary, employee ID, yes name and salary. I just want only 3 columns from that. Okay, now what you need to do is create another table which is nothing but employee dummy 22. From employee duplicate 22, what are the columns that I required? I need serial number, comma, yes name, comma, salary. That's all. I don't want employee ID. Okay, I'm just leaving employee ID aside, and I'm just taking all those serial number, yes name and salary into consideration. Now it will execute. 9 rows affected, but how many columns that is transferred from employee duplicate data to employee dummy data? Only 3 columns. Let's check with it. Okay, Control C, select star from dpo dot employee dummy 22. Here we go. It just has serial number, salary, yes name. Okay, so in this method select star into is a very effective method. Select star into, if you go for select star into, you need not to create a table prior to dumping the data from employee duplicate data 22 to other table the way you create. So the select star into is a very effective way to do it. Okay, so I just want to stop this video for this with these concepts for today, because as I promised before, every video from now onwards is just a topic related, it's not a extended video. So in this video we learn how to represent a 4-part representation of the SQL Server while writing a select query, and how to align your query while retrieving the data from a table, and how to give alias names to the particular select statement, and what happens if you have a spaces, white spaces between the alias naming conventions, alias naming with respect to table specific, and column specific as well, how to represent that one, and how to insert the data from one table to another table, okay, including all the columns. If you represent star, it will dump the all columns into it, or if you represent particular selected columns, it will dump that particular columns only, okay. So if of course here also you have to align your query like this, okay. Always go with the proper alignment of your query, because if you wrote a query, then if somebody saw your query, then obviously it should be a well aligned. So then so it will give you a very good understanding if it is very well aligned, okay, the way you write. You can give your alias names as well if you want to dump it. So while you dumping it, you can give your alias names as well if you want it, okay. So I would like to stop the video for this. Hope you guys understand with the today's concept, and we will see a few more concepts regarding the SQL Server database in my next sessions. Okay, thank you guys, have a good day.